Hello, hello, and happy Valentine's Day to all the people watching my stream right now, which is one person. That oh, you got my model. There you go. Shrink me a little bit. Doink. There you go. How is everybody? I hope everybody had a nice singles awareness day so far. Oh, that's such an old way to say it. Uh, had a nice Valentine's Day. Maybe you were alone. Maybe you hung out with people. Maybe you hung out with family. Nothing wrong with that. I hope that even if you didn't, that you have a fun time with me on stream. So thank you. Anyway, um, today we are going to show off, because Valentine's Day is all about love, the language of love, and the language of flowers. Um, so I thought I would show off some of my favorite flowers and some other really cool things too, because I've always been a fan of plants and orchids are the most spectacular flowers on earth aside from maybe roses. I know that's biased, but it's how I feel. So, um, we will be taking a look at all sorts of strange, unusual flowers, some rare, extremely rare orchids, just all sorts of interesting things. So I hope you stick around, and I hope people who join are interested in checking out some of this stuff because it's got some cool and unusual things that nobody else does. I don't even think there are regular streamers who have or content creators who have stuff like this. This is really some unusual things in my collection. So I'm also going to show you a few other things in general. So you know, I think it'll be fun. Okay, so we'll start off with let's put that lens cap out of the way. Oop, too much of go. Let's start off with two of my favorites. So yeah, let's zoom in on them. It's hard to see. Actually, the flower's looking a little wilted, but sadly, it's the only one of its kind here. Let's see. Okay. Zoom in. There you go. Might get a close look at that. Right. Maybe I can actually zoom in on it if I move it a little bit. What's that? Kind of got a leaf in the way, so let's see if we can separate that. Get a closer look at that flower. That right there is, as far as I know, the one and only true black orchid. Orchis schunkeana. These are really rare. I don't think I've seen too many. So, here we go. It's very small. Like, give you an example of just how small this plant is. These are practically miniature orchids. Let's very tiny. Look at that. That right there is the one and only black orchid. I've never seen another one that's as close as this. It's technically a very, very dark red, but it might as well be black. Perfect for the goth in your life, black orchid. The only place I know to get these is Ecuagenera. I've never seen one anywhere else. They're pretty rare. They're not hard to grow, though. My God, they're easy. Not only that, but they flower a lot. They flower a whole lot. Mine, once they start flowering in the early part of the year, they don't really stop. So, like, they're really good at flowering. I really love them. They're quite easy to take care of. We'll be talking about not just the flowers themselves, but how to take care of them. So, if you want to get any of these and try your hand at growing orchids, then I will help you out with that too. I need water, and so do they. I'll show you all the equipment that you need to grow them. And I have a few surprises. I have lots and lots of plants here on my little desk. So I think that we will have all sorts of really cool stuff to talk about today. So yeah, we'll start off with the black orchid and we'll start off with a carnivorous plant right here. This, zoom in on that. This is a pinguicula flower. Now, this is a carnivorous plant flower. These are already succulents. Like, they're basically a carnivorous succulent. But let's see. Look at that purple. Isn't that fantastic? Some of these are fragrant and some of them aren't. Like some same with some orchids. Most orchids are not fragrant, but there are plenty of them are, and when they are, boy oh boy, are they fragrant. So look at that. Look at that vibrant purple. It is quite beautiful. This is Pinguicula titan, which is a really cool, very large. Mine doesn't look as good. It's I always have trouble with Titan. It always seems to regress and then shrink and then shrivel and die, kind of like my love life. Oh, oh, so sad. Um, but overall, I find that it does flower very well for me when it wants to. I wish my true blue. Sadly, like this is ironic, but the fact is that most of my plants aren't even flowering right now. So I don't really have as much as I normally would to show you, which kind of hurts because I really would like to show more of my plants flowering. So I had to cheat a little bit on some of them. Ooh, well, then again, what's Valentine's Day with a little cheating, right? Ah, all's fair in love and war, I guess. Sheesh. Yeah, I had a pretty tough day. It's amazing I'm even streaming it all. I woke up in quite a bit of pain. But hey, what's love without a little bit of pain, right? Love is pain. Indeed. Oh, it's so edgy. Love is pain. Um, so yeah, it's okay. What's Valentine's Day without a little pain, right? Can you tell this is one of my least favorite? I like the romance, I like the flowers, but I just don't like I don't like being alone on it. Uh, that's okay though. You can spend it with me. Whoever's here, you know, nobody. Yeah, that's okay. Anyway, let's see. Um, oh, I've got some more followers now. That's neat. Pretty sure one of them that just followed was a bot, but I can't tell. That looks like a bot to me. Oh well. Um, let's zoom out because we don't need to see that anymore. Zoom out. Yeah, because no human would type like that. Let's see. So we've had an orchid. We'll show it off later again, but let's show off some more orchids. Here we go. I think we can just like get the camera within eye shot of this one. The problem is the camera is not that high up. It's kind of angled downward. So what I can do is bring it down. Here we go. Here we are. We have Phalaenopsis, one of my favorite Phalaenopsis, Paphopedilium. This is a lady slipper. It's a really cool one. It's got a very butter yellow color. It's not as like fresh. This flower has been around for a while. Paphopedilium flower for like multiple months, like up to 2 to 3 months almost. They flower like once a year to twice a year, and they flower for like a month and a half, and then the flower just dies. So this one's been sitting for a little while. So also like my love life a little stale. uh, but this is quite the beautiful flower, I think. One second. It's fine. Anyway. Uh-huh. Not that there's anyone here. But that is a very pretty flower. I like that one a lot. We'll just put that one here. Wonder if we can get this one in the shot without like dropping it. This has a huge long stem, so just gonna like, there you go. Look at that. That is, it's like poking its head in like, what's up? But yeah, this is a cool one. This is one I got recently and I showed both of these off on stream before. But this is a frag. Phrag, longifolium, black as night, cross sibling, which is pretty cool. I don't actually know much about orchid crosses in general. I know about the species, but the crosses and like the different varieties are just completely new to me. It's ridiculous. So definitely something that I'm not 100% familiar with. Still, this is a really cool one. According to the place I got this from, which is a local place, um, it is a collector species, which I guess means it's pretty rare. I mean, it was pretty pricey, but like, it's still pretty. It's a cool flower. And the best thing I like about it is it's very easy to take care of. This thing is basically the same as your garden variety grocery store orchid. But that doesn't matter anyway. But yeah, like I really like this one. See if I can put it far enough away that it'll pick it up on camera. I doubt it though. It's so tall. Like there's no way that this will be picked up. Let's push this one back. Look at it later. Here we can kind of see it. There we go. All right. Another one. Kind of moving through these pretty fast. Hmm. Excuse me. Surprising. All right. Let's see. What is this one? I think this is another butterwort. This is a Faleaceae mocked. That's why it's got those thin little leaves. Look at that. This is how like much variety you get with butterworts. You get a huge amount of variety with like the flowers, especially with the crosses. And I'll show you Faleaceae. I have one on the desk right now. But like this is what you get for the Faleaceae flowers. You get these large, like hot pink Barbie Dreamhouse pink flowers, like a magenta almost, and they're very large and they have this large lower petal here on the bottom. They have a very like square as opposed to round leaves. They have more like almost hexagonal leaves. They have very sharp edges on them. They kind of remind me of like pansies or like lilies a little bit. Like your And once again, the reason why they have these long stems is so that the plant doesn't eat its pollinators, which I think is cool. All right. Honest. I don't know. Streaming, but starting to feel a little off. That's okay. Whew. Let's see. Hmm. Yeah, I love my hand cam streams. It just seems like they're kind of niche. I get more people watching my game streams. That's kind of sad. But I think it's also because in general my content when it comes to hand cam stuff, I'm not sure how to like actually tag it. There's so many people in just chatting. So it's hard to stand out among them, you know. But I do have a lot of very interesting and unique stuff that not too many people do. Like I'm pretty sure that there's not a lot of plant streamers out there. There are a few, I know, but none of them for sure that have any of the stuff that I have. Like not none, but very few. Like I am sure once again that I don't know anybody who's got one of these. I've had like 4 of these on stream, and the funny thing is that we probably think they're all the same plant, but they're not. This is actually each one of them is a different plant. So this one is Aphordensis as well. This is another Pediolaris complex sundew. These things are so cool. They're like living fireworks. There we go. Let's get that. Pull this one off. Put that sundew right in the middle, and let's get it spinning. After we move this one a little bit. There we go. Move you south. There you go. And get you spinning. Nice and slow. Yeah, I really like these though. I think these Pediolaris sundews are super cool. And once I figure out how to get the right setup, I will be doing tissue culture for them, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. Though it's going to be a lot of work because I have to make sure everything is sterile when I do it. Because I think that one of the things about tissue cultures that's a challenging is keeping everything completely sterile. So I might need like a glove box to prevent any sort of contamination of it. Because I want to do like cuttings and tissue cultures of these because I just can't find them anywhere else. And if I lose a plant, I'd like to have a backup because these are so rare that there's just no way to replace them if they die. I mean, not that any of these plants is going to die anytime soon. They seem to be just fine, knock on wood. But overall, I think I really don't want to lose any of them. I'm kind of attached to them, you know. No girlfriend, plant girlfriend. You know, uh instead of having spending Valentine's Day with my with a lady friend, I've got my plants and my dog and my bearded dragon, and family. So at least I'm not completely alone today. There's something to be said for that. I think that's okay. That's all right. It's all right. All right by me. Right. But yeah, I just really look at that. You can see the wool on the stems that picks up that water. Like this plant's also quite large too, even for a sundew. It's like, look at how big it is. It is a big sundew. And they only get bigger. These guys get big. I could probably repot this guy and have him increase in size. But honestly, I think he's happy right now, and I don't want to bother him because, like I said, the last thing I need is this to die. That would be really unpleasant. I can't replace him. I have no idea where I'd get another one. This came from a close friend. I don't even have any of the hybrids that he bred, which is too bad. Camera's having trouble focusing. It doesn't know what to focus on. Can I zoom any farther? Let's see. That's about as far as it goes, I guess. But still. Yeah, look at that. That is a very, very fine zoom. I love this camera. You get a lot of details, even if the zoom's a little awkward. Looks really nice. Look, you can get that really fine detail there. Such a pretty plant. Look at that shining metallic sheen on the stems and those beautiful red petioles. The plant is extremely carnivorous. Like holy mackerel. These ones are voracious. I've caught them eating all sorts of crazy insects in my grow tent. Things that surprised me. Like normally they just like fruit flies. I don't feed them. They just catch what they can. I don't feed them bugs anyway. I feed them fertilizer mix, foliar feed, which is a spray. And actually, like day after tomorrow is technically foliar feeding day, but I'm gonna skip it this month, just because the fertilizer I use is so potent that like I think it would probably be a good idea to skip a month because I've done it so far. I think 3 months in a row with the new fertilizer. So it's definitely a an unusual one. So I think though it's time to show off one of the more interesting ones. We'll show off before we do that. We'll show off one of the more typical orchid species that you find in every single grocery store. This is, of course, let's zoom out. Boop. This is everyone's favorite orchid. Well, not everybody's, but everyone's first. This is Phalaenopsis. You see them in every grocery store. They're everywhere. They're the easiest to start with, and also grocery store orchids instructions are made of lies. If you use an ice cube on one, you should probably not do that. You should probably rethink your life choices. Um, because the best way to take care of these is actually extremely simple. Just get a plant light, set it to 12 hours on, 12 hours off. Like on Amazon, you can get a cheap regular white light plant light or purple light. I like the white light ones. The plants seem to like them better. And then you when you need to water them twice a week. I do a Monday Friday schedule or a Tuesday Friday schedule. So and then I take it, I put the plant under a jet of shower water, like a shower of water in my sink, lukewarm water, and then just let it sit there for 2 minutes and it's watered. Usually when the silver on the roots washes off, that's when you know your plant is fine. Um, like you don't want to waterlog it, but you also don't want to let it get too dry. But here's the tip with plants in general. They don't mind being neglected as much. Overloving a plant is so much worse than neglecting it. Like so much worse. There's a relationship lesson in there somewhere. Uh yeah. Maybe you want to neglect your spouse more. Don't do that. Or do. I'm not your husband. Well, maybe I am. Another world, another realm. I haven't seen it. It's possible. They're practically infinite out there. But yeah, we've got lots and lots of very beautiful plants to show. And I really like this one. This was my second ever orchid that I got. I started off with like one variety and like I wanted to see if I could do it because I'd already been growing carnivorous plants for nigh on 2 years by the time I started in orchids. And Mama Vispel was like, I really want you to try orchids. I've always wanted to keep orchids and I always killed them. So why don't you try one? I said, you know what? We'll go to the grocery store and we'll pick up an orchid and let's see if I can keep it alive. And now I have a whole bunch of rare ones. So yeah, there you go. It's snowballs. Orchids are like Pokemon cards or crack. You just can't have one. You know, it's true. You can easily end up with like 10 to 20 orchids and not even realize it. And it's like, wait, are these things multiplying in the dark? They're like gremlins, just don't feed them after midnight. Honestly, carnivorous plants, they will multiply when you're not looking. And I have plenty of orchids that are doing that too. There's a couple I've looked at that are like, oh, hey, I have an entirely new rhizome on me. It's a whole new plant. You've been feeding me really well. Cool. Just try not to jump pots. That's freaky. Don't move into each other's pots. This isn't a college campus. That sort of behavior is frowned upon. That's what happened with my utricularia plants and my carnivorous ones. They all moved into each other's pots, so I have no idea what plants in what anymore. I just gave up. You know, Longifolia invaded every single other one, so that all my pots have these crazy long leaves in them. It's just bleh. What are you gonna do? It's oh my, what even, you know? Let's see. Oh, once again, I think everybody's off in their own. They're off with their SOs, or they're off crying into a can of spam or something. I don't know. There's not really going to be many people watching, I'm sure. I have no idea. But you know what? I thought at least I would try and show off some of my flowers. So, what's really cool is we'll bring out this, and I will talk a little bit about we'll bring out one of my favorite butterworts first. Then, when you're not fighting me, there we go. It should be center anyway. Nuke. There we go. Let's bring out you. There you go. I have uh I have brought this plant out a couple of times on stream. This is Pinquicula falisii, or Zicari. This is a very, very beautiful plant. It's one of my favorites. Highly recommend anybody who is interested in getting into carnivorous plants get a hold of one of these. They are spectacular. They flower a lot, and they're awesome pest control. They're truly gorgeous. They're like practically one of a kind. They just look cool. And when they go dormant, they look like lotus flowers. Like this one's practically going dormant, so it's just coming out of its dormancy, so it still has that very tight rosette of lotus-like flowers. Very cool looking. Uh-huh. Yeah, look at that. So pretty. And I have mine in this little teacup that I've had it in for like forever, with those little birds and butterflies. I think there's hummingbirds on there too. But not sure. But yeah, like the cool thing about these is you can basically do anything with them with arrangement. Like put in a teacup or a terrarium. These plants love terrariums. So people are like, oh, which carnivorous plant should I put in my terrarium? Do I want to put a Nepenthes pitcher plant or Venus flytrap? And I'm like, both of those are terrible options. Flytraps hate terrariums, and people constantly put them in them. Flytraps are not happy in a terrarium, and Nepenthes get too big for terrariums. Sarracenia get too big for terrariums and need dormancy. Like, if you want a plant that's terrarium friendly, this or like almost any sundew will do. Like most sundews that don't have like special needs in terms of this thing always falling off. I got to replace the tape on it. My little USB hub. Hmm. Let's see. But yeah, like this is a really pretty one. You know you're truly alone when the only one who shows up to your stream is a robot. Oh, sad. Well, you know. 1 second. Okay. All right. Honestly, I'm starting to feel a little off, but I will talk a little bit more. I'll show off some of the fertilizer. I'll show off one or two more cool things. I've showed off basically all the plants I brought. Um, but I will show off a few of things and talk about the fertilizer. And then I think at this point I might call it early. I haven't been on for very long, but hey, it's kind of a rough day in general. I'm lucky I even made it to the stream this far. Okay, let's show off the last thing, and then I'll talk a little about the fertilizer, and then I'm just gonna call it a day because I think I'm starting to feel a little crappy. You know, that's how it is. Here, ouch. Here we go. This is the one that everybody wants to see. Yeah, I know it's a little dirty, but this is pretty cool. This is one of my favorite terrariums. It's hard to see into, but so I need to clean it. But you can, let's see if I can zoom in and see some of the butterworts in it. This is what I mean about butterworts in terrariums. This terrarium is not touching the ground. So it is right now completely airborne. I can actually lift it gently. You can see inside. You can see the different species, pink and all the colors, and they're flowering too. I picked this because there are several species in there that are actually flowering. We've got Victoria, Alerciae, uh, metallic pink or metallic purple. I forget that one. We've got Condoy in the middle, which has 2 flowers on it. Gracilis in the back. This thing is packed. There are so many plants in there, and they are super happy. In the front, those 2 big ones are Mighty Mouse. So this, I will teach how to build one of these later on. Anyway, I'm going to pull back, and I will show off some talk a little bit about fertilizers, and I'm going to end the stream early because I'm actually kind of not feeling so hot. Let's see. So I was going to talk about fertilizer. So, contrary to popular belief, carnivorous plants don't actually need to eat bugs. Like they don't. Um, it's okay for them to eat bugs if they can catch them, but you don't have to like directly feed them unless you wanna. Overall, I think the best way to feed a carnivorous plant is to use foliar feed, which is just to spray them every like month, every 2 weeks to a month using certain fertilizers. The most popular for carnivorous plants and orchids is Maxea, Maxsea. It is a mixture of ocean life products fortified with a little bit of inorganic nitrogen. It's mostly organic except for that. And it is a very, very high quality product that is very popular. A lot of people really like it and have for a very long time. You just mix 1/4 teaspoon of that with a gallon of distilled water, or if your tap water is good and has what's called a low TDS, which is total dissolved solids, you can get a meter on Amazon for that to test how much stuff is in your tap water. If your tap water has like a really low TDS, you can just use your tap water and mix it. Hell, you can just use your tap water to water them as well instead of using distilled water. That's an advantage of having like a pure water source, is that you don't have to use distilled water to water your plants. Because orchids and carnivorous plants don't really like high mineral content water, especially carnivorous plants. They don't even like having clay pots. So that's what I always say, is that to make sure that whatever you're, it's one of the reasons people end up killing them, is because they have clay pots or water with high nutrients or soil with miracle grow. These plants don't need that many nutrients. That's why they're carnivorous, so they can get them from other places. And if they get too much, they die. And that's why you killed your Venus flytrap as a child. I'm sorry to say. It wasn't really your fault. It was the fault of the people who mass tissue culture these plants and sell them in hardware stores with the wrong instructions, so that the plant will die and you will buy another one. Or you won't. I'm not your dad. Uh, but like, yeah, that's probably the reason why most people don't stick around with them. They think, well, they're all like that. They're all gonna die. No, fly traps are hard. Fly traps are jerks. They're difficult. They're like they're like roses. You don't grow them inside. Grow them outside. They need seasons because they don't come from the Amazon. They come from friggin' North Carolina and they get snowed on. Fly traps are not a tropical plant. They're a temperate plant. They need seasons and they need high amounts of airflow and huge amounts of natural sunlight. So the only way to keep a fly trap is in a greenhouse. So, yeah. I love fly traps. They're such cool plants. They're charismatic. Everybody loves them. Little shop of horrors, etc. But yeah, don't keep them there. I've been going off topic. Butterworts are easy. They're like flowers. They're like succulents. They have everything that you want in a plant all in one. You can make arrangements with them. You can put them on a rock and they'll latch onto it as long as it's like a volcanic rock, like pumice or any sort of volcanic rock. They the biggest problem with them is they can be a little delicate and susceptible to crown rot, even more so than other succulents. Other than that, though, they're awesome. I've had some butterworts that have been with me since the very beginning and have not died. So it's not a guarantee that they're going to be delicate. It's just sort of rolling the dice, but that's life. C'est la vie. You know, shoganai desho. Life can't be helped. What's life without a little risk? Enjoy your plants. But yeah, the other fertilizer I recommend is called exotic plant fertilizer. I will show you the bottle. I highly recommend you hunt this down. This stuff is awesome. There you go. Let us zoom in on that. Exotic plant food. Um, it's made by the Exotic Plant Food Company, which is in Parker, I think, which is pretty far from where I live. I don't even live in that state. Exotic Plant Food PO Box. Yeah, this is really, really good stuff. And it's terrarium safe. I highly recommend it. Like 1/4 teaspoon of this in some water, and every plant you own will love you. Every tropical plant. Just don't use it on anything that's not a tropical plant. You know, it's very strong stuff. And don't use it with the lights on. Don't feed it after midnight. I'm just kidding. Actually, that's when you want to water. You want to feed the plants because the lights will be off. So, one more perfume thing that I recommend from Brambles Botanicals, who are close friends of mine. This is Ping perfume. This is a homemade mixture just for butterworts or pinguicula. So you can just spray that on once a month, and your butterworts will thank you. They'll love you. They'll flower more often. Anyway, there ain't nobody here. There's nobody watching. So I am going to call it early tonight and go to sleep because I don't feel so hot. Sorry if people wanted to watch more. I apologize. I got to put everything back anyway. And, happy Valentine's Day. My present is for Valentine's Day is to go to sleep early and forget today happened, which is something I would love to do. And I hope probably a lot of people here also probably want to do. So, good night. If I don't see you, good night, good evening, good morning, whatever. Later.